Well, for me, I'm a 10 on the out of 10 on the extrovert scale, but social media has always been, email and that kind of ability to get in contact with people has always helped me deal with being shut in. I had a bad year last year, and I had a book that was really late because it was a bad year. And then because that book was late, a book with a different publisher was also late. So I had a killer November, December, January, February. And so it was just back to back, work, 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 go days and days without leaving the house. I did quite a little bit of computer streaming of my church service so that I wasn't leaving the house. I could just be in my clothes and then go right to work again. And so I turned in the revisions on that second book in the first week of March. The next day, I came down with RSV, which is a respiratory virus. It's taken me about a month, and it's nothing like COVID, but it's still taken about a month to be feeling better. And while I was still down at the worst of that, COVID arrived and the world shut down. And so it just feels to me like it's just a continuation of the deadlines. So here I am, and I'll just keep working. I think what's been the hardest part for me, though, is that knowing that something could come in on the bottom of a shoe, or, I mean, you do have to go to the grocery store, you do have to do stuff like that. And I'm not necessarily a person that gets easily stressed, but I have felt anxiety a couple of times, and I had to just really take that to God and say, here this is, I know it doesn't help to go, what if I get this, and what if it's really bad? And I've had the conversations with my daughters. We are meeting weekly, which has really been great, via Zoom. I have just loved that. One's in Texas, one's here, but it's hard to have group meetings. Well, they're both teachers, so they're both teaching from home. So we've been able to arrange these weekly chats. And one of the first things we chatted about is, well, here's my will, and here's how you get into my computer, and in case the worst happens. And then I've learned from Tammy, one of her phrases is, to, well, I'm not going to quote you right, but to make sure that everything's said.
Live with everything said.
Yeah, so that the people that I care about know I love them, and that has really helped ease the anxiety to just go, you know what, God's in control, and nothing's gonna happen to me that he doesn't allow or cause for the purpose of making me more like Jesus, and it's always gonna come through his loving hands.
That's it right there. The whole thing is about making us more like him.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So good, Robin.
So, okay, let's see. Deb, you're next.
I think for me, one of the hardest things has been caring about germs. I am not a germaphobe at all. I will eat after anybody, any dog, any.
Now we know.
You did. Sorry, I've never just worried about germs at all. I like my house to be clean, but germs don't scare me. And I feel like I need to change because this germ is a really bad one. And so, I've had to just, for the sake of my grandkids and, our elderly neighbors and whatever, I've had to care about germs a little more than I ordinarily.
Just remember, 80% of the people who get it have a mild case.
Yes.
So,
exactly.
the media rips up the fear, and it is bad for a certain subset of the population, but 80% of us will have a mild case. Yeah. So don't let fear rule you. God's got it.
No, I'm not afraid enough. I probably need to be. And I think the other thing that's been hard, I'm an extrovert too, but I'm kind of like you said, Robin, I get a lot. I mean, I love social media, and I feel like I'm getting plenty of, FaceTime with even my kids and grandkids. I'd love, can't wait to hug them, but we've been able to see them and social distance, but I miss church.
Me too.
It's been hard, especially the worship part of church. I mean, I love that we live in an era where we can watch church online. That has been really cool. And I have so much admiration for pastors who can preach an, incredible sermon to an empty auditorium. That has to be really, really hard. But the worship part, they always say, even if you're home, just the two of you, stand up and raise your hands and, worship. I can't do that. That's just weird. It feels too awkward. So I miss that. I'm sure when we finally get to go back to church, I'll just be sitting there crying the whole time, just because I'm so happy to be back in worship. So
I'm makes me sad about Easter on Sunday.
Yes, me too, Catherine.
Easter.
Yeah, that's gonna be hard. Yeah,
because we're already at 4 Sundays without being together. And it's been one of those where that worship piece has been hard, because my kids, the 3 oldest, are usually in the front 2 rows because the youth group sits up front, and they're just worshiping their hearts out. But because we're at home, I know in their room, in their own personal space, they're still worshiping, but it's just not the same. I mean, they're just sitting there on the couch in their blanket. And that's hard for my mama heart to see, because my kids love Jesus and it's not the same. And it's just not. And so, while I'm grateful for technology, my heart misses that. That corporate experience. There is a reason Jesus says to come and gather together and, have that corporate worship experience.
We were made for relationship, and that's hard, not to be able to go up to somebody and hug them. I'm a hugger.
Yeah.
And so, friends have been asking, do you think we're going to go back to hugging? I think some of us will just move right on in.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't imagine life without hugging. No, there's no life.
But on the topic of, are they driving you crazy?
Bringing it back around.
My husband, we've been doing this work from home thing together in the same house for going on 11 years now. Wow. And he has proudly been driving me crazy for 11 solid years. We are very grateful that in this house especially, we can't even hear each other. His office is downstairs and mine is upstairs, and we literally have to call each other on the phone if we want to, get each other's attention. So that has helped a lot. But he still definitely works at driving me crazy. So.
What's one thing he does that drives you crazy, Deb? What is one of his little things?
He comes in and says, "Can I bother you just for a second?" Like, just stop, Robin.
Does he whisper when he says it?
Is he what?
Does he whisper?
Oh yeah. Oh, he'll whisper.
Yeah. See, it doesn't count if you whisper.
Yeah, and as soon as you say this will just take 30 seconds, it's too late. You've already taken
Brilliant thought you had is just gone.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, Tammy. Oh.
No, go ahead, Tammy. Go ahead.
No, that's right. Speaking of, my husband is texting me right now saying, "When are you going to be done? When?"
You're like, next year.
He texted me twice now. He said, you said like an hour. And I was like, well, but no, he and I are, like I said, we are empty nesters. So we are good. Although the townhouse has gotten to feel smaller than it did before. I will say that. But, the thing I miss, I am a hugger too, Robin, like you said. And when I've seen the 2 or 3 times that we've seen our kids, the very first thing you want to do is just hug them. So that's been harder, but also BSF. I've been part of Bible Study Fellowship for over a decade now, and our Wednesday meetings, we're Zooming, we're doing all that, but I miss that fellowship and just, coming together over God's word. And so that's been good. And but one thing that has helped me more than anything to stay sane, seriously, and a friend gave me this. Here we go. It is a screaming goat, and I pressed this probably about 4 or 5 times a day. Something will happen, and I'm thinking, and it helps so much. So Amazon, here we go. It's great. So, but no, my note has helped me. Has helped me. Something happened yesterday, and Joe even said, "I think you need to go press the goat." And I was like, so. When he just,
Awesome.
I told him that I said I'm almost done, and he just said, yeah.
Women, surely he can figure that out.
I know. But no, it's all good. All is good. Standard.
That's right. Have you guys noticed that when you we'll be watching a movie on TV and there'll be 6 people all huddled together and you're like, what? They're not social distancing. What's wrong?
Yes.
It has changed the way I've
Yes.
looked at the world.
Yeah.
I'm yelling at the TV commercials.
Yeah.
Get apart. Social distance. Get apart.
I'm the opposite. I've had enough to hear with being preached at. I get it. I know. We know. Come on, you guys. We're adults. Yes. Social distancing.
Yeah.
Okay, I will have to confess one thing. I'm a lover of Survivor. Well, of course, I know that this season of Survivor was all recorded, but what are they going to do on the night that they win? I am really concerned about that night show.
Robin, what about The Voice? What about The Voice Lives? All
The
of
Voice Live.
until now, and in May it goes live. What are they going to do?
Yeah, the same
And
thing
I'm
with
like,
The Voice.
I don't watch TV because I'm writing a book. And so I'm like, I don't even know what's going on in the world other than the headlines. And I had to start distancing myself from it because I'm a writer and I'm a lawyer. So I can what if down 27 steps down the road. And I just had to be like, okay, I can't. So social media, I'm glad it's working for some of you, but I'm like, I need my people because I need people. So this is great. I've loved this.
Yeah, this is awesome.
This has been fun. But Joe just texted again, so really.
Yeah.
I know. Where are you and Joe going?
We
Now
all
we have
go.
to know.
Everybody always thinks
No,
writers
we're-
are,
we're
many of us are extroverts.
Can we text him for you and say?
Yeah.
Oh, guys, I want to know where you're going. What's going on? Where you
Oh, we're just gonna go walk the dogs. We just, it's our time. We do
Okay.
it in the morning and we do it in the evening. It's just our time to get out. We go walk the dogs and walk us. So,
Yeah.
Okay, well, we got to let Tammy go.
yeah.
Well, I was hoping I had Joe's number in my phone, but I don't because I was going to text him and say, leave her alone.
Back off, Zach.
We're in a meeting. Come on.
That's right.
Okay, well, let me just do a closing to this just to say thank you for watching to everybody who's watched. Obviously, you're going to know that this has been edited because I'm going to have to piece things together. But we had such a great time. These are all not just wonderful authors and wonderful women, but they are wonderful Christians. And I am so blessed to be able to call them my friends.
Same here.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Y'all, stay safe.
Love y'all.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.